let's just look at a couple things, and maybe after this we'll start playing Genshin. So, I'll start with this. So, recently, woman, Logan Federico, I believe is what it was. Yep, Logan Federico. Alex Dickey had 39 arrests, 25 felonies, yet he was walking free until he brutally killed Logan Federico inside of her home. So, someone has 39 arrests, 25 felonies, but he was not in jail. And he killed a woman. As I see, it's like not getting as much coverage as it should be. This judge, he released Alexander Dickey after just 410 days of a 1,825-day sentence, 22.5%. So he was released early. So he didn't even get to finish a sentence. And then it's like these kinds of killings have been becoming more common. And I think I saw people saying that he shouldn't get the death sentence because he's mentally ill. But he obviously is not capable of living in civil society. He's someone who's been arrested 39 times and murdered a woman. So I don't see why people are trying to defend this this killing. Oh, this is the father. Let's just listen to this.
How many of y'all have kids? I'm just curious. Here's what I need you to do. When I tell you this story, think about your kids. Think about your child.
And I believe, I don't know who it was. I'm not sure if it was from this conference specifically, but I believe a woman mixed up Logan with Iryna Zarinska. Which was very crazy because of just how common these types of killings have been becoming lately.
Coming home from a night out with their friends, laying down, going to sleep, feeling somebody.
So I believe he broke into her house and killed her. Stabbed her to death.
Come in the room and wake them. And drag her out of bed, naked, forced on her knees, with her hands over her head, begging for her life, begging for her hero, her father, me, that couldn't be there. She was 5'3". She weighed 115 pounds. Bang! Dead. Gone. Why? Because Alexander Devontae Dickey, who was arrested 39 goddamn times, 25 felonies, was on the street. How about that? How good are we doing for our family? How good are you doing for your kids? He should have been in jail for over 140 years for all the crimes he committed. You know how much time he spent in prison? A little over 600 days in 10 years. He's only 30 years old. He was committing 2.65 crimes a year since he was 15 years old, but nobody could figure out that he couldn't be rehabilitated. Well, you'd have to put him in prison to see if he could be rehabilitated. Isn't that the idea of prison? But no, my daughter wanted to be a teacher. She finally figured it out 2 weeks before she was executed. And I haven't heard a damn word from Byron Gibson in South Carolina. Not one word. 4 months, no communication. His biggest concern was that he was pissed off about my interview and how I made him look on the Fox News channel with Trey Gowdy. How pathetic is that? That we're letting our 22-year-old kid visiting friends. It's all she ever wanted to do was visit friends. And she literally was executed while on her knees begging for her life. Her name's Logan Federico, not Iryna.
Yep.
And you will not forget her. I promise you. You will be sick and tired of my face and my voice until this gets fixed. I will fight until my last breath for my daughter. You need to fight for the rest of our children, the rest of the innocents, and stop protecting the people that keep taking them from us. Please. You have the power. We put you in the power to do what you have to do. We're asking you, we're begging you all to stop this. 39 crimes in 10 years, 25 felonies. Can anybody here explain to me, well, how possibly he could be on the street? Possibly be on the street. How is it possible? I could sit down in a room and I could explain the whole process of how it failed, how South Carolina failed, Logan, okay? How lack of communication. What y'all did, you woke up a beast and you pissed off the wrong daddy. Because I'm going to put it out there, and I'm not going to be quiet until somebody helps. Logan deserves to be heard. Everyone on this panel deserves to be heard. And we will. Trust me. My daughter laid on the floor for 7 hours before somebody in that house recognized that something was wrong. And that career criminal, an hour later, went on a spending spree with her debit card. When they saw his face on a video, they didn't have to do a check. He was arrested so many times they knew who he was. They knew exactly where to go get him. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic that I'm here today.
Okay, so a lot of stuff happened, but and it seems like to me that a lot of like specific demographic of people have been getting like let off easy for committing crimes. We can see like in multiple cases at this point, 39 crimes, and then we can look at Iryna Zarutska. Let's see if I can see how many times he was arrested. Hold on. Very nice, yes, everybody, black man, train. It's gonna tell us how many times. I think it was 14. He had 14 arrests, if I remember properly. And then one. This isn't the same. Isn't a criminal who did it, but I believe his name was DeCarlo. No, it's Austin McCall. I don't remember his name. Carmelo Anthony. I remember now. Carmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalf, stabbed him to death, and a lot of people assumed that even though like it would not be justified to kill him, a lot of people like were trying to paint the story saying that Austin Metcalf deserved to die. Even though we're not sure in what world you justify someone's death over like words, and from sorry, I forgot his name again. Sorry, I forgot his name. Well, and even from his perspective, he just said just like touch me and see what happens, and then he just stabbed him to death. It was like rainy. It was during, I believe, a track meet. They were all under their tents, and he was under the wrong tent, and then they got some kind of heated argument, and then he stabbed him. And then they donated $500,000, $500,000 to him, without because they just assumed that even I don't know how people like thought this was happening. They just wasted basically $500,000 on a criminal, and I believe he was indicted of murder at this point. And then his like Austin Metcalf's dad is a cock. I don't know what's wrong with him. People just assumed that Austin Metcalf was in the wrong, even though he was a victim of a crime. They said, yeah, nothing wrong happened. He deserved to die. And then we can look at another case. Iryna Zarutska, a 911 caller described horror after Ukrainian refugee slaughtered on Charlatan train stabbed this woman for no reason. We know why he stabbed her. If in the actual footage, you can see what you can hear him say it. We'll see if it's in here. Um, it's like Democrats care about the Ukrainians until a black man murders one, and then suddenly it's like, actually, maybe she deserved it, or is he's schizophrenic, so he didn't do anything wrong, or he just needs to be in a mental institute. I think he needs to be killed personally. I think he needs a death sentence. Anyone who kills someone does not deserve to live. Like murder someone on purpose, then they do not deserve to live. And he should have at least been in prison because he was arrested 14 prior times. Ukraine refugee Iryna Zarutska was already unconscious and had lost tons of blood by the time bystanders sought help after she was stabbed to death on a North Carolina train, according to dramatic 911 calls obtained by the Post. A man just fucking stabbed this woman for no reason. One panicked, out of breath man said during a 3-minute call after homeless repeat felon DeCarlos Brown allegedly gutted the 13-year-old victim with a pocket knife. Please hurry, she's bleeding a lot, said the distressed caller, who struggled to the dispatcher's question amid the mayhem in the Lynx Blue Line in Charlotte on August 22nd. Oh, these are the shots. I believe this was after she was stabbed. Why did they censor here and not here? And if she got the help that she needed right away, I think she still would have been alive because I think she was still completely aware after she was stabbed. I guess most people just don't know. So when we get into this, but in the U.S., it isn't. What's this every like? In a lot of countries, with psychology, it's like bystander syndrome. If no one helps, her, or no, if someone's in danger and no one helps, then no one else is going to try to help. As soon as one person tries to help, then people actually try. Like then multiple people start to help. So it's really important to know that if something happens, it only takes one person to make a change. It's like this is human psychology. Humans aren't going to. They aren't going to help if no one else wants to, because it's just part of our brain. That's how our brain works. We're pack animals. We're going to follow the group. We're going to follow a leader. So I saw people being racist, saying like they didn't help her because they are all black. That is not the case, in my opinion. Well, not my opinion, just from what I know about psychology, is because no one helped. If at least one of them helped, I think this would have gone differently. But instead, they all ran away. The eyewitness, I mean, someone just got stabbed, so you would be scared. Like, you could be next if you like try to help. Okay. Oh yeah, just didn't want to be clear about something. The eyewitness described the violent suspect, a paranoid schizophrenic career criminal, as being a black man who had already gotten off the train. Another caller reported that Zarutska, who came to the U.S. in 2022 after seeking a safer life after Russia invaded Ukraine, was not responsive as bystanders tried to stem the bleeding by applying pressure to her stab wound. So if someone helped right away, I think she would have been fine. But no one did anything. Yeah, see, this is her after she was stabbed. And I guess if you're looking well, I guess it's blood everywhere. Okay, never mind. But I see one guy already left, I think. This lady just got stabbed. There is a lady on the ground with a lot of blood. We didn't see it. The female onlooker commonly told emergency operator, explaining she didn't witness the callous assault. People are freaking out. There's a lot of blood. I think she's gone. While some callers described the 34-year-old alleged attacker as wearing blue jeans, a red hoodie, and having dreadlocks, others emotionally reported that Zarinska was likely already dead. Some girl got stabbed on the train. I think she's dead. I think she's dead, man. The man stressed to the dispatcher. I think the girl might be dead, man. The guy who did it is standing over here on the ramp, so it looks like someone probably followed. Disturbing surveillance footage from unprovoked attack showed the terrified victim cowering with her hands on her face as she looked up at her killer in fear after being stabbed 3 times, including once in the neck. Okay, here she is, and that's Carlos Brown. Zariska, her pants spattered with blood, collapsed to the floor seconds later as her attacker strode down the train car, knife in hand, leaving a trail of blood behind him. The chilling video showed, and she was pronounced dead on the light rail. 13 prior convictions. Looks like they're not going to say. Let's see if I can find a quote. But I think what he said is, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl." So you can't really say it's unprovoked or not unprovoked. You can't say that that there was no clear reason why he did it when he on the video footage said, "I got that white girl," twice. Brown, who had 13 prior convictions, had a trial pending and was free on bail, arrested shortly after the killing and charged with committing an act causing death, just say murder, on the mass transportation system. This fucking language to say he murdered her. This federal charge could make him eligible for the death penalty. Good. The Justice Department said. This is everything. So here. So how bystander syndrome works, or how we're in a system where helping people can get you more in trouble than not. So I'm going to look at another case that is similar to what happened but went differently. This is probably going to be a biased article on it. We'll see. This might be like a disingenuous article on what happened. So, former U.S. Marine found not guilty in fatal New York subway choking. Let's see if they are going to be disingenuous or not. Daniel Penny found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide. Homeless man Jordan Neely died after encounter on subway train. So right here they say homicide, but over here they can't say murder. They say attack that caused death. Yeah, thank you. Neely's family call system rigged. New York, December 9. Reuters, a former U.S. Marine sergeant who used a chokehold to restrain Jordan Neely, a homeless man, on New York City subway car was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide on Monday in Neely's death. So this is probably going to not be a proper article on it. Hopefully they provide actual details of what happened, and don't exclude context and just be liars. Daniel Penny, 26, has said he never intended to kill Neely, a 30-year-old man with a history of mental illness, during their encounter on an uptown train on May 1st, 2023. Penny did not testify during the trial, which began in October. He left the courtroom without commenting to media. "I've had enough of this," Neely's father, Andre Zachary, told reporters outside the courthouse following the verdict. "The system is rigged. Come on, people, let's do something about this." A judge had already dismissed a more serious charge, manslaughter, in the second degree against Penny after jurors emerged twice during their day of deliberating on Friday to say they were divided on it. Are they going to actually say what happened, or are they going to say that or are they going to provide context to what happened on the train? Prosecutors from Manhattan District Attorney Office did not dispute that Neely was loud, angry, and threatening as he boarded the train, shouting he was hungry, thirsty, and wanted to be sent back to jail. But they told jurors that Penny, who grabbed Neely from behind with an arm around Neely's neck and brought him to the floor, used deadly physical force without justification and far longer than necessary. Daphna Yoran, an assistant district attorney, had said during closing arguments that Penny was warned by people around him about the risk of Neely's life and intentionally ignored them. He did not recognize that Mr. Neely was a person, she said. He didn't care what happened to Mr. Neely. He continued to choke Neely, who was unarmed, on the floor of the subway. car for nearly 6 minutes after the train pulled into the station. Other passengers left the car, prosecutor said. Penny's defense lawyer told jurors that Penny, a student on his way to the gym, acted out of alarm that Neely might hurt a woman and a child he was approaching. Lawyer Stephen Razor said the client held Neely until he knew that he was no longer a threat but did not apply pressure on his airway during the crucial moments. What happened on May 1st, 2023 was not a chokehold death, Razor said. He was controlling Mr. Neely by not choking him. Well, that's not true. Penny's lawyer theorized that Neely died from another cause, possibly drug overdose or a sickle cell crisis. Probably not. I think that's just a cope. I think he was killed by Penny. Prosecutor Yorin rejected those scenarios, telling jurors it was extremely rare for sickle cell, a genetic blood disorder, to lead to a fatal crisis. Luckily, Neely. So that looks like they're kind of excluding a lot of context in this. Same moment during the drug home. The killing gained widespread public attention, with some viewing Neely, who was black as a victim of white vigilante, while others, including some Republican politicians, called Penny a hero. Neely family lawyer Dante Millis said Penny's acquittal showed the system could not be relied on. Everyone who's pissed off about the verdict, I challenge you to go outside today and help one person. That's how we beat this system. That's how we turn this around, being there for one another, Millis told reporters outside the courtroom. This is just a very disingenuous article, excluding context. But it's kind of interesting how they're demonizing Daniel Penny. I believe that's his name, Daniel Penny, right? For from what he assumed, he was helping people, because I think in the actual story he was being just like, what do you call it? I have to look it up. See if I can find a different article. He was mm-hmm. That is not what I'm looking for. Can we get more details on who Neely actually was? Sorry, hold on. I'll take your head and pull it closer to mine. Baby, but I'm in my mind. My house is stereo, beats for you, so listen close. Hear my thoughts in every note. Whoa. Make me your radio, turn me up when you feel low. This melody was meant for you, sing along to my stereo. I'll only pray that never leave me behind. Good music could be so hard to find. I'll take your head and pull it closer to mine. But I'm changing my mind. Architecture. So this is very different from what was said in the previous article. So this is Penny's. This is Daniel Penny's testament. Okay, we'll start from here. Sorry. Okay, so this is going to be Penny's statement or testament. So Penny released a video statement through his attorney in the days following the deadly encounter. He said he was acting in self-defense as Neely acted erratically on Train F in Soho. The three main threats said he repeated over and over was, "I'm going to kill you. I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die," Penny said in the video. "I was scared for myself, but I looked around. I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces. I didn't want to be put in that situation, but I couldn't just sit there and let him carry out these threats." He said he was not trying to kill Neely, and race was not a factor. "Some say I was trying to choke him to death, which was also not true. I was trying to restrain him. You can see in the video there's a clear rise and fall in his chest," said Penny. "I didn't see a black man threatening passengers. I saw a man threatening passengers, a lot whom were people of color." Penny was charged 11 days after the incident and released on $100,000 bail. An online fundraiser was set up to help with the legal expense, garnering more than $3,222,223 to date. So that is something that was completely excluded from the other article. I don't think Neely deserved to die, considering he hadn't killed anyone or hadn't harmed anyone at the moment. But I think this was definitely a case of negligence on Daniel Penny's behalf. But people, I don't know if there were like protests over this, but I saw a lot of people trying to paint Penny as a villain, even though it's like seems more like he was trying to protect people around him, and he failed to properly restrain Neely and basically killing him. So this is Jordan Neely. Neely was a 30-year-old subway performer who known for his Michael Jackson impersonations. I think he was homeless. Records show he struggled with homelessness and mental illness after his mother was murdered in 2007. His death sparked days of protests, so there were protests, and questions about New York City responds to help people in mental health crisis. "My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. It really hurts," his father, Andre Zachary, told CBS News New York after the verdict. "What's going to happen to us now? Had enough of this. System is rigged. Come on, people, let's do something about this. No one deserved to be choked to death," said Gwen Carr, Eric Garner's mother. I tell this family, do not give up, because that's what they would want you to do. They want to discourage you, just like they try to discourage me 10 years later. I'm still fighting. This verdict represents blatant legalization of civilian vigilantism, sending a dangerous message that citizens can now take matters into their own hands. So this is what's talking about. This isn't vigilantism. Sorry, I can't. Vigilantism. This was someone trying to restrain someone, not someone trying to murder someone. I don't think he was necessarily trying to be a hero. He was basically, this is more a case of self-defense. So relating to what I said earlier, it is less desirable for people to help others in cases of other people being violent. Well, that's why you see a bunch of people who don't want to do anything when Iryna Zarinska was stabbed. They don't want to like try to restrain DeCarlos Brown. They don't want to try to help her. They don't want to be involved because this is people are trying to put in place systems for to like make it a crime or just for people to help others who are being harmed or in threat of being harmed. You see in this article, like a bunch of people are trying to paint Daniel Penny as someone who murdered someone over race, and that's saying that that's the reason why he did it, and the reason why he was let go was because he was white. You see people saying that, but because this, you say this like say right here, this verdict represents a blatant legalization of civilian vigilantism. But I think this person is trying to also make it so people, this statement basically tells people not to help others who may be in threat or in need for like safety. So I don't think it's vigilantism. I think the murder was his killing was completely an accident. I think it was just he was negligent and did not know what he was doing. Someone I feel like did not know how to control his strength. CBS New York, Neely agreed to outpatient mental health treatment as part of plea deal and prior arrest, but he left program within a matter of weeks. As a result, a bench warrant was issued for his arrest. Wait, what? Neely agreed to outpatient mental health treatment as part of a plea deal in a prior arrest, so he was also arrested, but he left the program within a matter of weeks. As a result, a bench warrant was issued for his arrest. So he committed a crime, and he was put into a program to help with his mental health, but he left anyways. So how can you say this is a mental health issue if he was supposedly getting the help he needed? Okay, whatever.